What if everything you've been told about fixing lower back pain has been addressing the symptom instead of the cause? Japanese Zen masters in their 70s and 80s sit in meditation for hours every single day, yet they rarely experience chronic lower back pain. Meanwhile, office workers who can barely sit still for 30 minutes are crippled by back tension starting in their 40s. 70 to 80% of adults will experience debilitating lower back pain at some point in their lives. Americans spend over $90 billion every year on treatments that rarely address the root cause. Compare that to traditional Zen monasteries in Japan, where monks maintain pain-free backs well into their 80s, spending virtually nothing on back pain treatment. Drop a comment right now and tell me how long you've been dealing with lower back tension. Few months? Few years? I read every comment and respond with specific guidance. And if you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. The Zen Master's secret weapon isn't a stretch or strengthening exercise. It's a system of tension release that works with your nervous system, not against it. But before I show you the exact technique, you need to understand what's really causing your back to lock up. Your lower back pain isn't caused by a weak back. It's caused by something that happened to your nervous system, probably decades ago, that your body never forgot. Let me explain what I mean by that. When you experience stress, fear, or physical threat, there's a muscle deep in your core called the psoas that automatically contracts as part of your fight or flight response. This muscle connects your spine to your legs, and it's designed to pull you into a protective fetal position when danger appears. In our ancestors, this was perfect. They'd face an acute threat, the psoas would contract, they'd fight or run, and then the danger would pass. The psoas would release, and everything would return to normal. But here's where modern life creates a problem that Zen masters recognized centuries ago. We don't face acute threats anymore. We face chronic, low-level stress that never fully goes away. Deadlines, traffic, financial worries, relationship tension, the constant ping of notifications. Your psoas responds to all of this the same way it responds to physical danger. It contracts and stays contracted, day after day, year after year. When your psoas stays tight, it pulls your lumbar spine forward, creating an excessive arch in your lower back. This compresses the vertebrae together, like an accordion being squeezed from both ends. The discs between your vertebrae get crushed, nerves get pinched, and your back muscles have to work overtime just to keep you upright. That's the pain you feel. Now here's why everything you've tried hasn't worked. Strengthening exercises make the problem worse by adding more tension on top of existing tension. Stretching only addresses the surface muscles, not the deep psoas that's causing the real problem. Pain medication masks the signal without changing the pattern. Physical therapy works on the back itself, but the back isn't where the problem lives. The problem lives in your nervous system, and that's exactly why the Zen approach is so different. Japanese masters discovered that the psoas doesn't respond to force, it responds to safety. It responds to conscious relaxation and specific positional releases that signal to your nervous system that the threat is over and it's finally safe to let go. Now let me show you how they do it, starting with the foundation that makes everything else possible. Zen masters discovered something 1,200 years ago that Western science only confirmed in the last decade. You cannot release deep muscle tension while breathing incorrectly. It's physiologically impossible. Let me show you why. In Japanese tradition, there's a concept called Hara, which refers to your energy center located about 2 inches below your navel. This isn't mystical thinking. This is your body's actual gravitational center, and it's also where your diaphragm connects to the deepest layers of your core. Here's what most people don't know. Your diaphragm and your psoas muscle share fascial connections and neural pathways. When one is restricted, the other compensates. When you breathe shallowly into your chest, which is what most people do under chronic stress, you keep your nervous system locked in fight or flight mode. And as long as your nervous system thinks you're in danger, your psoas will never release. This is the breathing technique that changes everything. Lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your lower belly. Now breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, but here's the key. Only your lower belly should expand. The hand on your belly rises while the hand on your chest stays completely still. Hold that breath for a count of 2. Then exhale through your mouth for a count of 6, letting your belly naturally deflate. Hold empty for a count of 2. That's 1 cycle. What's actually happening here is profound. This breathing pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system that tells your body the danger has passed. It signals safety directly to your psoas. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, cortisol levels decrease, and your psoas begins to let go of tension it's been holding for years, maybe decades. The most common mistake I see is people trying to force the breath or breathing too quickly. This isn't about taking the biggest breath possible. It's about taking a slow, controlled breath that moves your diaphragm through its full range. Another mistake is tensing your shoulders or jaw. Your entire upper body should stay relaxed. If you notice tension creeping in, pause and reset. Start with just 2 minutes of this breathing. Work up to 5 minutes before you attempt any physical positions. Some people experience emotional release during this practice. You might feel the urge to cry or sigh deeply. This is completely normal. Your psoas has been storing stress, and as it releases, those emotions come up and out. Don't fight it. Let it happen. Once your nervous system begins to calm through this breathing, your body becomes ready for the next step, the position that actually decompresses your spine. This single position, held for just 90 seconds, does more to decompress your lower back than an hour of stretching. Zen masters used it after every meditation session, and now you're about to understand why. The position is called Seigan no Kamae. It translates to correct eye position, but that's not referring to where you're looking. It refers to the alignment of your spine and pelvis, creating a proper visual horizon. When your spine is correctly aligned, your eyes naturally find level. When your spine is compressed, everything tilts. This position was developed by Zen monks during the Kamakura period, sometime between 1185 and 1333. Monks would sit in meditation for hours, and when they stood up, they needed a way to safely decompress their spines and reset their pelvises. They discovered this position by accident, and then refined it over centuries of daily practice. Here's exactly how to do it. Start lying on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. Take a firm cushion or a folded towel and place it under your hips, elevating your pelvis about 2 to 3 inches off the ground. Your arms rest by your sides with your palms facing up. Gently tuck your chin toward your chest, lengthening the back of your neck. Now here's the most critical part. Press your lower back gently but firmly into the floor, completely eliminating the arch. Your lower back should be making full contact with the ground. What this position does is remarkable. It reverses the anterior pelvic tilt that's been compressing your lumbar vertebrae. Anterior tilt means your pelvis tips forward, which forces an excessive arch into your lower back. This position tilts your pelvis backward, creating space between each vertebra. When you create that space, your discs can rehydrate like dry sponges finally getting water. Your psoas, which has been chronically shortened, gets positioned in a gentle extension that encourages it to lengthen. The sensation you're looking for is your lower back melting into the floor. If you feel pinching or increased pain, your elevation is too high. Drop down to just 1 or 2 inches. If you feel nothing at all, you might not be actively pressing your lower back down. This isn't a passive position. It requires gentle, sustained engagement. Hold this position for 60 to 90 seconds initially. As you get more comfortable, work up to 3 to 5 minutes. Most people experience something interesting around the 2-minute mark. There's a subtle shift, sometimes accompanied by a deep sigh. That's your nervous system letting go. This position creates the foundation, but now we need to add movement, gentle micro-movements that teach your body an entirely new pattern. These aren't stretches. They're what Zen masters call intelligent movements, micro-adjustments that communicate directly with your nervous system. And here's what makes them completely different from everything else you've tried. These movements are performed at maybe 10 to 20% of your maximum range. You're not trying to stretch as far as you can. You're trying to teach your nervous system a new pattern. The Japanese have a word for this approach: shibui. It means subtle, understated elegance, massive effects from minimal motion. Think of it like this: your nervous system is like a frightened animal. If you chase it with force, it runs away and protects itself with more tension. But if you approach it slowly, gently, with patience, it begins to trust you. That's what these three movements do. The first movement is called the pelvic clock. From the pelvic reset position we just learned, imagine there's a clock face on your lower back. 12 o'clock is at your head, 6 o'clock is at your tailbone. Now gently rock your pelvis so the pressure moves from 12 o'clock down to 6 o'clock. This should take about 5 seconds. It's barely visible movement. Pause for 2 seconds at 6 o'clock. Then rock the pressure back from 6 o'clock up to 12 o'clock, another 5 seconds. That's one cycle. Repeat this for 6 to 8 cycles. What this does is create gentle traction in your spine. It mobilizes your sacroiliac joint, the connection between your spine and your pelvis, and it teaches your pelvis to move independently from your lumbar spine, which most people have completely forgotten how to do. The second movement is the knee float. Stay in your reset position and maintain that lower back contact with the floor. This is critical. Now slowly draw one knee toward your chest. Take 8 to 10 seconds to do this. Only bring your knee as far as you can while keeping your lower back completely flat against the ground. The moment you feel your lower back starting to arch, that's your stopping point. Hold for 3 breaths. Then, lower your leg with the same control. 8 to 10 seconds. Repeat on the other side. Do 4 total cycles, alternating legs. This movement lengthens your psoas dynamically while maintaining spinal stability. You're teaching your hip and spine to move as separate units instead of as one locked block. The third movement is the spinal wave. Still in your reset position, take a breath in and allow a natural tiny arch to form in your lower back. We're talking millimeters here. Then exhale and press your lower back into the floor again. The movement should be so subtle that someone watching might not even see it. Repeat for 8 to 10 cycles. This creates micromobility in each individual vertebral segment. It pumps fluid through your discs like a gentle massage, and it reinforces the neural pattern of controlled spinal movement. These movements are powerful, but here's what makes them actually work in your real life. Zen masters didn't practice this technique once and cure their backs forever. They integrated it into daily life until it became as natural as breathing. And here's what most people don't know. The technique itself isn't what creates lasting change. It's the ritual of returning to it day after day that reprograms your nervous system permanently. The Japanese have a concept called shugyo, which means continuous cultivation. Skills must be woven into your daily routine to create lasting change, not because you lack discipline, but because your nervous system learns through repetition, not through intensity. One powerful session won't override 30 years of tension patterns, but 5 minutes every morning for 30 days will. Here's your morning ritual. This takes 5 to 7 minutes total. Do this immediately upon waking, before you even get out of bed. Start with 2 minutes of Hara breathing, then move into 90 seconds of the pelvic reset position. Finish with 2 to 3 minutes of the unwinding sequence, all 3 movements. That's it. This sets your nervous system's tone for the entire day. It prevents that morning stiffness from solidifying into chronic tension. Most people tell me this completely changes how their body feels for the next 12 hours. Your midday reset takes just 2 to 3 minutes. You can do this on the floor during your lunch break or even a modified version sitting in a chair. Just the breathing and the pelvic clock movement. This interrupts the accumulation of tension from sitting or activity. It maintains the release you created in the morning. Think of it like this. Tension builds up like dust on a surface. You can either let it accumulate for days and need a major cleaning, or you can wipe it away every few hours and never let it build up in the first place. Your evening ritual is the most important one. This takes 7 to 10 minutes and you do it before bed. 5 minutes of full breathing practice. Then, 5 minutes of the full reset position with the complete unwinding sequence. This processes all the stress your body accumulated during the day. It prevents you from sleeping in tension, which is when that tension becomes locked into your tissues. People consistently tell me they sleep deeper and wake up with dramatically less stiffness after adding this evening practice. Here's the progression timeline. After 4 to 6 weeks of daily practice, your nervous system will have learned the new pattern. At that point, you can reduce to just morning and evening sessions. But the Zen tradition emphasizes something important. Never stop completely. Even masters who've practiced for decades still do this daily. Not because they have to, but because it's become part of who they are. This secret weapon isn't complicated, but it is profound, and now you understand exactly how to wield it. You now possess the same weapon that's kept Zen masters pain-free through decades of meditation. Remember how they sit for hours yet have no back pain? Now you understand why. They don't fight tension. They systematically release it by working with their nervous system, not against it. This isn't theory. This is 12 centuries of practice, thousands of masters who lived pain-free into their 80s and 90s. The secret isn't the positions or movements themselves. It's the philosophy. You cannot force your body to heal. You can only invite it to release what it's holding. Start tonight. Just the breathing. 2 minutes. See what happens. Drop a comment and tell me when you're going to start. I read every single comment and respond with guidance. And if this video gets 500 comments, I'll release the advanced Zen master technique for sciatic pain that most people have never heard of. The weapon is simple. The results are profound. The choice is yours.